So hello, welcome back to the channel. And for the keen eyes amongst you, I've moved flat, so that was fun. But I know you do not care about that. You're here because Man City just won the treble. What? Now, later on in the video, stick around for it. I'm going to be talking about Pep. I'm also going to be talking about which players should go, who should stay, and who they should sign. But I really want to talk about the game. Especially because that first half, it was a masterclass from Inter Milan. The game plan went to perfection for them. And it just caused City a lot of frustrations. I mean, there's no two ways about it. City didn't really get into their rhythm early on. Inter Milan looked as if they were going to counter-attack and press them really high, which City, they might have expected them to do that, but they didn't quite cope with it, and they didn't really know what to do, didn't create any real big chances, and the first half was all Inter Milan. They were also the team who had said bigger chances as well. Into the second half as well, and the first big chance goes to Inter Milan. I mean, Bernardo Silva passes the ball back to Akanji, who for some reason just leaves it. He thinks Ederson's going to get it. Doesn't see Martinez pressing, and that Ederson's not actually coming for it. Martinez then goes, he needs to square it to Lukaku. I know Lukaku didn't have the greatest game, but he's never beating Ederson from that angle, and Lukaku's still a good player. Alright, he's not what it was, but he's got a much better and a higher chance of scoring than Martinez, who he was far too selfish there. Should have passed it, let Inter Milan maybe go 1-0 up, and that really put the pressure on City. And who knows, they wouldn't have even panicked at that point. Then comes the history moment, and it was Rodri who got the goal out of all people. Who'd have thought that? Bernardo Silva gets a beautiful ball slid into him, and he cuts it back. It takes a deflection and it rolls out to the edge of the box, where Rodri has all the time in the world and slots it calmly in the right hand side, Onana's left hand side. Keeper had no chance, really used the players really well to bend it round, and that was the goal that made the history for Man City. It was also probably the only time in the game that Inter Milan lost a bit of concentration. I mean, they were ball watching, they were making sure Haaland wasn't a threat. They did a pretty good job of that all game, but they were watching Bernardo Silva. Yes, it takes that wee nick, and they kind of stopped the cross. But the likes of Barella and Brozovic, none of them are on the edge of the box, and Rodri's got all the time in the world to slot it in. He could have been thinking about anything, could have been thinking about what to have for dinner, the celebrations after. He had so much time, but in all credit to him, he can do it there, but he still cannot do it on a cold Tuesday night in Glasgow, especially when the grass is a bit too long as well, son. Then just a few minutes later, DeMarco has a brilliant looping header that's going over Ederson. Ederson's well beat. He's outstretched, jumping behind, and it hits off the bar, and then it falls back to DeMarco, who, I'm going to defend Lukaku here. He heads it right at him. Lukaku's positioning is not brilliant, but he can't really get out of the way, and he's quite unlucky for it. The positioning has a lot left to be desired, but I think he was unfortunate, and I think it's a poor second header, if I'm being totally honest, from DeMarco, who he just should have put it at either side. Then obviously Foden has a brilliant turn to get away from his marker, and he shoots it right at Onana. 2-0 surely would have been the depth. But then in about the 87th minute, the ball comes in from Gosens, and Lukaku, he's there again. He always seems to be in these big moments, and he heads it straight at Ederson. It's a good save from Ederson. He gets across quick, makes himself big, but put it either side. I mean, just put it to the left or the right. He had a horror showing in the cup final. He really did. And then after that, there wasn't really too many big chances. I mean, Inter put on the pressure. City defended really well. And there you have it. Your treble winners, Champions League winners, Manchester City. Now, as we congratulate Manchester City on winning the Champions League finally, here come the rival fans. Oh, they bought the Champions League. Oh, it doesn't really count because they bought it. Oh, one, you can't buy a Champions League. I mean, you've got to buy the right players, have the right system, have the right manager, and it's all got to work for you in one season. And it finally has worked for them. So they didn't buy it, they were just the best team in the world. Second of all, Man United have spent the most since 2013. I mean, they've spent over $1 billion, and what do they realistically have to show for it? A Carabao Cup or two, one FA Cup, a Europa League. That's it. No league title, no Champions League title. Then you look at Chelsea. Chelsea have spent over 600 million in the past few months, let alone a year or so. Then, yes, Liverpool haven't really been the massive big spenders, but they spent 75 million on Van Dijk, about 70 million on Alisson as well. They spent a kind of big chunk to get Salah, Mane. They've spent big, and their investments work. So why is it so different for City? At the end of the day, those fans are just jealous of Man City's success. I know the financial fair play aspect of it as well. Over 115 potential breaches, which it could land them in a lot of hot water. But at the same time, as I've just said, a lot of other teams have spent massive and it's not come through. Who knows what will happen with the financial fair play as well? We need to wait and see. But congratulations to Man City. You also really have to feel for Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, he comes off injured in the Champions League final against Chelsea early in the second half. And then just late in the first half, he comes off, he's injured, he gives it a go. You've got to feel sorry for him, but he deserves it. In 2016, when he moved from Wolfsburg, a lot of people were saying, well, it's about 50 million. He's going to be a massive flop. Why would you spend that much on a Chelsea reject? My God, he's been one of the best buys, if not the best buy in Manchester City's history. I mean, he could be their greatest player of all time, realistically. There's so many others as well that deserve the praise. The likes of Ilkay Gundogan, who, I don't know what it is at the end of the year. He just turns into a Ballon d'Or winner almost. He's fantastic. He's a coach's dream. He'll attack, he'll defend, and he's got fantastic knowledge of the game. He knows where to be, he knows where other players need to be, and he is like a bit of a mini Pep on the pitch. As well as that, you've got Jack Grealish, who, yes, he's probably hungover right now. God knows where he is with the England camp or not, or if he's even made it over there. But 100 million last season probably wasn't his best season, but my God, he has improved tenfold, and that's all down to Pep Guardiola. If you look at Grealish's goals and assist numbers, you'll be like, well, he's still not worth 100 million. But if you look at him actually playing the game, forget all the goals and assists, because if you just look at them, you don't watch proper football. The way he actually plays the game, the influence that he has on the team as well, he drives them up the pitch. He's been brilliant this year, and he's been a top 5 player for Man City, which that's very difficult to do this year. Looking at the defence, Diaz is going to get a lot of the credit. He's the rock-solid individual who every team sort of needs, your reliable centre-back. Then, the two most important people in the defence, Stones and Ake. I mean, they've both come on leaps and bounds this year especially. The past few years, they've all been slightly improving, but especially this year, they've really come into their own. Ake can obviously play at left back, you can play him left wing back, at left side, anywhere. He will do a fantastic job. Then John Stones, obviously playing as a centre back, but then he'll sometimes go to right back where he does a more than solid job, and he gets put in the midfield now where his creativity and his calmness on the ball really helps them. And it helps plays in Pep's brand new system that they've implemented this year. They are the two most important defenders as well. And realistically, two of the most important players in the team. Then, finally, you've got Erling Haaland. I do not need to go on about him. Everyone knows about him. Everyone knows the amount of goals he's scored, the fantastic debut campaign, and surely he's in line for a Ballon d'Or. He's got to be. And make no mistake about it, Man City do not get a Champions League without Pep Guardiola. They don't. I've always regarded Sir Alex Ferguson as the greatest manager of all time, and I still do. But Pep is closing in on him. And he's got so many more years left. He's obviously got his legacy at Barcelona, bringing Messi up to the Ballon d'Or level, winning the Champions League twice there, the treble there as well. His stint at Bayern Munich, maybe not as successful in the Champions League as it probably should have been, but at Man City, he's only gotten better and better and better and better every single year he's been there since 2016. He improves players, and he finally got that Champions League trophy with Manchester City as well. But a lot of people will say, well, at Barcelona, he had the golden era. Xavi, Iniesta, Messi, the likes of Busquets were coming through. He had Henry, Yaya Toure, Piqué, Puyol. At Bayern Munich, they were already made teams. Xavi, Alonso, Lam, and he can make those comparisons. Man City, they've got all the spending power in the world, but someone's got to manage these monster egos and implement their own style. And Pep has more than done it, and he deserves to be the manager of the year by a country mile. There's no one better right now than him. Simple as that. So where do Man City go from here now? They've won the treble, they got their end goal, they got the Champions League. Well, let me tell you, it's imperative that they keep the spine off their team. They keep Haaland, De Bruyne, Diaz, Ederson. They will not be going anywhere. Same with the likes of John Stones as well, and Rodri in there. You could almost have them all on the spine. They will not be going anywhere. But I think we're going to see a fair few departures from Man City this summer. I think we see Laporte leaving for more first-team football. I think we see Bernardo Silva potentially leaving, even though I really don't think he should. I don't think he's going to get a better club than Man City. That goes as well for Gundogan. I don't really know where he'll go. He should probably stay as well, but I get why he would maybe want to leave. Mahrez, I think, will be tempted to leave as well. And then I think Kyle Walker will leave. I don't think Pep actually thinks he's going to fit in his system, and I think he'll be off next year. Cancelo is another one who will go. I don't know who, because the price is ridiculous for him and no one seems to want him, but I do think they'll find a solution and get rid of him. Then I think the likes of Foden and Alvarez next season, with Mahrez potentially going and Bernardo Silva potentially going, that's where those guys slot in. And I think it's their time to really step up and establish themselves in the first team. I think Pep as well, he doesn't like a massive squad. He likes a smaller squad of 18 with 18 quality players. So I don't think there should be a massive influx of players who come in. I think the players that, when they leave, they will bring in players with similar quality. For example, Kovacic will probably be coming in as a Gundogan replacement. I then also think they should go for the likes of Koundé as a Laporte replacement, and maybe a Walker one as well. They should bring in the likes of Barella, break the bank for him. He's a special player. Kolo Muani, who can play in the striker position, wide right. You can even play on wide left as well. He's fantastic. I think Hickey would be a great option if they want to play some wide players in there as well. He can even move into the middle as well. He's a fantastic ball-playing defender who likes to go forward, right up Pep's alley. And I would look at Matoma as well. Matoma, a good attacking option that likes behind Grealish, but as well as that, if you did want to go a bit more defensive and take off Grealish, you bring him on. He's a bit more solid defensively. And that's where I see Man City getting their players next. Then next season, I see them winning the league again. I don't see any quality in any other team that could possibly amount to getting to Man City's level. So I think they win the league for the 4th year in the row, and maybe the Champions League as well. It all depends on summer activity everywhere. So let me know what you think will happen at Man City. Do you think the treble is tainted in any way because of the financial fair play? How do you think they will get on next season in the Prem and the Champions League? And thank you so much for watching this video as well. Please leave a like, give a share around, subscribe. It would mean the world to me as well. Thank you. Cheers.